So while I had it disassembled, I thought I would give you a quick run through on this desk. This is something I threw together a few years back, and I didn't like the old desk I had. It was terrible for cable management. This setup, it works pretty good. It's just very simple. It's just made out of the base is just mainly plywood, some cheap stuff I found at Home Depot. I've got lots of room for power supplies, all the stuff you don't want to see day to day down here. And the back's completely open to the wall, so everything's easy to get to. These panels, they're hinged, they just swing open, so when I need access from the front, I can just swing those open and get in there. Access all the cables. That over there, I had to drill a hole through to get to the 220 plug in the old Hamshack, but I drilled holes through there so I could run anything out the front, like foot switches, the pedals, foot pedals for the radios. I've got a gap, about 1.25 inch gap underneath there to run stuff in and out from underneath. But it keeps most of the mess hidden behind. When I do it this time, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I try to avoid on ham stations tying everything up, because it seems like you're always changing something and then it's all tied up. But this time, the last couple of years, I really haven't changed a whole lot. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and use Velcro straps, tie straps, and tie everything up nice and neat back here. When I went to take this out, there was a complete rat's nest behind this thing again. So I'm gonna try to avoid that. It seems like you can try to avoid it all you want, but ham stations just sometimes wind up looking like that. These things I have mixed emotions about. These are some rig runners. I've ran these for a long time. I don't particularly like the plug set up on these things, those Jones plugs, not Jones plugs, the Anderson power pole plugs. They're okay, they're nice for being able to disconnect stuff quickly, but I think they're completely unreliable most of the time. So for the time being, I think I'm gonna go ahead and run with these things, but in the future, I'm leaning heavily towards switching these out to hardwired fuse blocks. At work, we've been using a brand called, I think they're Blue Sea. Seem to have really good luck with those things. The terminals, you just put a ring terminal on and attach it to it. They work really well. I don't switch stuff around that much. And pretty much all the new HF rigs all have the same power plug on them. So I can just keep the existing cables there. And when a new radio shows up, and if I sell one of the old ones, I'll just send the cable that comes with the new radio with the old radio if I sell it. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. Like I said, for the time being, since I don't have one of those Blue Sea power panels available to me right now, I need to order one. I think I'll just run with these things. But like I said, I don't particularly like these things. They're okay. They work great on a test bench or something where you got to plug and unplug stuff constantly. This setup, I'm just not really fond of it. For some reason, I don't know why, but I have two of these. The other one's back in the old Hamshack. I had one mounted on the other side to these power strips. I don't even know what brand these are. I think they're old trip lights that I found somewhere. But they work really well for this kind of setup. Got lots of plugs on the back of them, a couple on the front, and they're rated for a fair amount of ampacity. And most of what I run in here, it doesn't really draw that much current. So I'll have this one on this side and one on the other side to power most of the stuff on the desk. And of course, in the front, I have that opening there to slide the computer in so it's easy access. So we'll go ahead and throw that very dusty top back on this thing. I was going to carry that out here by myself. I thought this was the heavy part. I forgot I made that out of 2 layers of 3/4 inch plywood, I think. It might be particle board. Now I got to look just to figure out. Nope, it's plywood. It's 2 layers of 3/4 inch plywood. I went to pick that thing up and about had a hernia. If I remember right, that's 38 inches deep, 8 feet long. So it's fairly heavy. And if I had it to do over again, I would not use that black. That's black Formica or laminate. That Home Depot used to sell that by the sheet, and that's what I used on that. I would not do that again. It shows dust and dirt so easy. You could clean it, and 5 minutes later, you'll see specks of dust on it. So I would not use solid black again. I would do something else. But let's go ahead and get that thrown back on there. So after some gnashing of teeth and arguing with this desk a little bit, we got it moved out here. As you can tell, I ran out of room rather quickly because I had to set up my spot for my work computer to sit on. I'm mainly working from home at this point, so I needed a spot to do my work. So this ate up a lot of my radio desk. I think I'm going to buy just a little. There's a store here locally that has just a little narrow desk. I think I'm going to buy that and set it over there to set the work setup on. That way it'll free up the desk for radio gear. I don't know if I'm going to get that done before the contest. I kind of doubt it, but I wanted to show you. I've only got this radio, the 7610, on the desk right now. I just didn't have enough room to get both radios squeezed on here with the work stuff on here at the same time. Now the reason I chose the 7610 over the TS890, and yes, I have both radios still, mainly is because I can't find my cable again to go from the Kenwood over to the amplifier. I kind of wanted to use that 890 during the contest, but I don't know where I put the cable. So for now, we're going to use the 7610 here on the desk. I'll dive into both those radios, why I'm using one over the other for different things on a later video. But for now, we're going to run with the 7610 because I know where all the cables are for it. Now my Shackland equipment, that's all going to be sitting back behind the monitor. I rarely need to push any buttons like this. This is the Foursquare controller. You can manually just push buttons if you want to control that Foursquare. I rarely, if ever, do that. It's all controlled via the control software. So I just really don't need to push those buttons. So it can all just hide back there. Now, behind the desk, I think I already showed you, those lift up to access most of the wiring from the front side. But while I'm reassembling this, I decided to just keep it out away from the wall till I'm done. That way I can access everything really easy. And as you can tell, it's starting to become a rat's nest back there already, and I've only got maybe half of the gear put in, and that's okay. I've been playing around with where I want everything, so I'm not going to bother tidying this up till I get the majority of the equipment in. Then if it's in the spot I want it, then I will go ahead and tie it up and tidy this up some. Like all of this here, that's all work computer stuff, and I know it's going to move, so there's no sense of tidying all that up. I've got, I think, 3 power strips mounted inside underneath this desk, and that will power most of the gear that's on the desk. That way I don't have to use a ton of wall plugs, and most of the gear doesn't take hardly any current draw at all. The big power supply, I will plug that directly into the wall. Actually, it will plug in. That plug is powered by the inverter. Once I get it hooked up, the power supply for the 12 volts will actually be plugged into that, and so will the computer. I usually run all that off of my inverter system. I just have not moved that over into this building yet. So this is kind of where we're at with the desk setup. We're making progress. Let's go out and start wiring in the grounding and getting some of this put back together so we can get some antennas hooked back up to the radio. Well, that's about going to wrap it up on today's video. The next video, we're going to dive into the ground system and how important it is to your station. So, as always, thanks for watching, subscribing, liking the videos, and we'll see you guys on the next video.